At this time of year, I like to take some time to reflect. Reflect on all the food that I ate at Disneyland, that is, so let's talk about some of the best. There was a lot of new food that came to Disneyland in 2023 and a lot of changes were made. We saw an all-new Cafe Daisy, the transformation into San Francisco, as well as Tiana's Palace, and just a lot of big menu changes. And so here are some of my top picks for the best new foods that we found in 2023. Number 4 in this category was a snack food that snuck into the menu at Maurice's Treats and Edelweiss Snacks. It's the cheesy garlic pretzel bread, and it's a snack food that could pretty much be a meal and was an instant hit with bread lovers when it popped up on the menus this year. Number 3 comes from an eatery that has stepped up its game this year in my opinion, and that's the Galactic Grill. They made quite a few adjustments to their breakfast menu this year, and while the burritos are tasty, what I really liked was the breakfast bagel sandwich. Thanks to its chipotle aioli and toasted bagel, this little breakfast sandwich was a step above the typical Disney breakfast sandwich and earns its spot as number 3. Number 2 may be a bit of a surprise. Now, what's not surprising is how fun Tiana's Palace is to eat at. Between its spicy southern food, cream-filled and lemon-glazed beignets, its fun theming, and the fact that you may bump into Tiana herself there is a win for me. But what really was the biggest surprise was the baked mac and cheese they serve as the kids' meal or as a side dish with the Cajun chicken. When my youngest decided she'd rather go to town on the chicken, we decided to eat her mac and cheese, and it was so good. Probably the best mac and cheese in Disneyland. And I really hope at some point they make it available as a dish by itself or as a side dish you can order separately because it was that good. Finally, number 1 comes from the Lucky Fortune Cookery, which is not new but had a complete menu overhaul with the opening of San Francisco. It now has a really clever fusion-style menu, with the hero of the menu being the beef birria ramen. It has just the right spice level, tons of flavor in the broth. I love a good ramen, and this one is a good ramen that you wouldn't really expect to get at a theme park. Not to mention, you can also grab a Thai tea with bobas and a Baymax macaron that tastes as good as it looks, especially if you're someone who likes like Nutella and Ferrero Rochers. It has that flavor. Yum. Let's move on to the classics that continue to live up to their own standards of Disneyland greatness, at least in my book. Number 3 not only is a place where you can meet Minnie and all of her friends for breakfast, but you can also get some of the best fried chicken there is as well. The Plaza Inn continued to be one of my favorite places to dine at in Disneyland in 2023 for a few reasons. First, it has stayed consistent with what it serves. I always know what I'm going to get there. 2, the food is very shareable, which helps with saving money. 3, it has that classic Victorian turn-of-the-century charm. You really feel like you're eating somewhere special. And 4, no waiting unless you hit some really oddly busy times, but other than that, you can just walk up, grab your food, pay for it, and eat. Not to mention, their seasonal cakes and sweets are always fabulous additions to every meal we eat there. Number 2 is another Main Street beauty, the Carnation Cafe, for both breakfast and dinner. I had some amazing meals at the Carnation Cafe this year that reminded me why I keep making reservations there almost every time we visit the parks. It's comfort food with a Disney flair. with many dishes like the meatloaf and the chili that you know Walt would approve of, and amazing fried pickles to boot. And the vibe of being in the middle of Main Street cannot be beat, morning or night. For number 1, I have to go with Cafe Orleans in New Orleans Square. Mostly known for its gut-busting but delicious Monte Cristo sandwiches and mint juleps, this southern charmer provides flavor with its ambiance. My kids like the mac and cheese and shrimp better than they do the chicken. And new to this year, they just recently started serving alcoholic beverages as well at this location. My husband recently tried the prix meal, which actually ended up being a pretty good deal, and I got to reap the benefits of sharing the spinach artichoke hummus and the adorable Nightmare Before Christmas Yule log that had a rich caramel filling and a chocolate ganache on the outside. Of course it was adorable, but more importantly, it was very tasty. This was his main entree. For me, I recently tried the pasta jambalaya. I really liked this dish. It had a lot of the things I love, like homemade noodles and those little popping peppers. Cafe Orleans just always does me good. Of course, I'm a churro monster, so I could only whittle my list down to the 6 best churros and 1 honorable mention. Starting with number 6, the gingerbread churro. Now, I haven't always been a big fan of the dipping sauces that come with the churros, but this year had quite a few that needed its dip to round out its flavor profile. Case in point, the gingerbread churro. While the gingerbread sugar was subtle, it was the butterscotch dip that made my kids dance with joy when they took a bite. Number 5 was around spring/summertime, and it was good with or without its dip. It was the pineapple churro, found by Sleeping Beauty's castle. It was most definitely a keeper. Number 4 on the list had a similar type of flavor. I always like when they have a fruit-flavored sugar on them, and the orange citrus churro from Halloween time fit the bill just right. And again, the citrus dipping sauce was a perfect complement to an already yummy churro. Now for number 3, the mint chip churro didn't really stand out to me as a possible favorite this holiday season until I tasted it, and yes, it needs the dip to complete its overall effect. When you mix the two, you basically get a Girl Scout Thin Mint cookie, and it's so good. Number 2 was another Halloween time churro, and with it being smothered in caramel, chocolate, and then crumbled Twix bars, I was in churro lady heaven when I gave it a try. And finally, number 1, the fresas con crema. Simple in concept and terribly messy to eat, this cream-soaked, strawberry-covered delight that you can still pick up by Goofy Sky School until the end of the holidays was my favorite overall. In fact, I wish I had one right now. And for my honorable mention, the tart raspberry churro. It was very good, and I love raspberry, but it didn't quite make the list. How are we doing so far? Have I named any of your favorites? I'd love to know what some of yours were. Feel free to share. Okay, moving on to the next category. Now let's talk best vegetarian and plant-based meals, starting with the cauliflower tacos at Rancho del Zocalo. Now, I am a bigger fan of the old cauliflower tacos they had there, but my husband really likes the newer ones, and they are a go-to for him, so I'll back him on that. And that's why Rancho's cauliflower tacos make the list, but they don't make the top of the list. Next, I have to mention all the amazing plant-based food they had at the Paradise Garden Grill during the Food and Wine Festival. We tried every dish because my husband never has these kind of options, so we went nuts, and every single dish was so good. They had a torta, a bulgogi fried rice, impossible Euro fries, And buffalo mac and cheese. I would be a happy camper if any of these dishes got incorporated into the main menu in the parks. My second most favorite is from Cocina Cucamonga in California Adventure, the Tacos Dorados de Papas. They don't photograph great, but these little fried potato tacos taste great and are worth making the mobile order and sitting down to eat for just a few minutes. And for the top choice, the Ronto Les Wrap at Ronto Roasters. Found in Galaxy's Edge, this pita wrap with kimchi slaw and pickled cucumbers is such a good grab-and-go meal with so much flavor. It's way better than the regular Ronto wrap, and you can't go wrong with the theming and the atmosphere with this super cool eatery. Finally, I want to share some holiday standouts because that's what's fresh on my mind. If you're a peppermint patty fan like me, you can't go wrong with the homemade peppermint patties they have at any of the confectionery shops. I gobbled mine up before anyone else could steal a bite because I'm that kind of a mom. The two holiday drinks at the Galactic Grill were huge hits with my family. The tangy but beautiful Galactic Holiday Punch was a surprising favorite amongst my girls. And I really liked the not overly sweet but chocolatey 2-for-1 chocolate cinnamon Comet cold brew that comes with a bonus dipping churro. Back at the Paradise Garden Grill in DCA, my husband fell in love with the Impossible Albondigas soup and the street-style watermelon. I snuck in one bite before he devoured it, but he said he would get it again for sure. And the always classic peppermint and chocolate beignets at the Mint Julep Bar with peppermint powder that smelled so good, and dunking them in the chocolate is a holiday must. Okay, who's hungry? Now we're flying into the new year and I couldn't be more excited. I have so many fun videos and ideas and tips coming your way. So subscribe to stay in touch or just keep watching more by clicking on this next video on your right. Thanks for watching and take care.